остальные могли посмотреть. Окей, всем спасибо большое, что вы уделили время и присоединились. Давайте начнем нашу сегодняшнюю сессию. Я надеюсь, вы все приготовили вкусный чай, чтобы послушать обсуждение адвайзеров, послушать советы, с которыми мы хотим поделиться с вами. Я надеюсь, в целом вы получите удовольствие от сегодняшней сессии. Окей? Давайте я сделаю небольшое интро, и далее я представлю вам наших сегодняшних гостей. Окей? So let me show you the slides. Okay. So, here we go. Сегодняшняя наша сессия посвящена теме Netiquette. Окей, наверняка вы думаете, что же такое Netiquette, и слово Netiquette получилось от объединения двух слов Internet and Etiquette. So basically, email etiquette refers to the principles of behavior that one should use when writing or answering email messages. It is also known as the Code of Conduct for Email Communication. То есть, смотрите, да, очень важно уметь переписываться и вести правильную деловую переписку, знать все необходимые правила, чтобы вести переписку грамотно, правильно, и самое главное, чтобы email, который вы отправили человеку, дошел до него, человек, получивший ваш email, понял, что вы от него хотите, и, соответственно, сделал последующие действия. Окей? Сегодня мы этому вас научим. Перед этим мы послушаем с вами истории наших гостей, как email этикет пригодился им в жизни, как они ему научились. Возможно, они поделятся какими-то типсами с вами. И далее мы устроим небольшой воркшоп, где мы пройдемся по уже конкретным правилам, как писать грамотно и правильно бизнес и профессиональные письма. И затем мы завершим нашу сессию небольшой игрой. Окей? Давайте я представлю наших сегодняшних спикеров. Окей, возможно, вы уже читали в нашем сегодняшнем интро и в нашей рекламе, которую мы рассылали, что сегодня нашими гостями являются Дамиря Койшубаева, ученица 4-го курса WLL Major, и также нашим гостем является Ijan Kalaswa, third-year student, political science and international relations student. So, cheers for our guests today. Okay? Давайте начнем с небольших вопросов, и давайте начнем, Дамир, с тебя. Хорошо? Итак, как ты себя чувствуешь, как твои дела?
Все отлично, спасибо. Выживаем. 4-й курс.
Same, просто same. Окей. Дамир, можете, пожалуйста, нам рассказать, как ты сама научилась писать профессиональные письма?
Ну вот, получается, когда я была в школе, мы тоже в школе отправляли имейлы профам, как во многих ниш-школах, но тогда единственное, что я знала, это Dear Miss Lala, Best Regards, Дамир, и все, как бы то, что вы сейчас не забывайте, и все. А потом я сама, когда начала, когда мы поступили в универ, я больше начала читать про то, как именно к профессорам надо обращаться. И я узнала то, что надо использовать некие дополнительные формулировки, как, например, там hope this finds you well, там, и потом как subject heading правильно писать, потому что если вы, например, subject напишете неправильно, то email может быть не открытым. Также еще узнала тогда то, что многим профам лучше в скобочках написать предмет, по которому вы задаете вопрос, так как у некоторых профессоров они могут вести там 2-3 предмета, и они не знают, какой email по срочности важнее. Например, если вы напишете предмет, по которому вы обращаетесь, они, например, знают, у них там скоро будет очень-очень важный пейпер, наверное, лучше мне ответить на этот email. Вот так вот.
Спасибо большое. Скажи, пожалуйста, также вспомни себя на 1-м курсе, это было аж целых 3 года назад. Вспомни, пожалуйста, как ты себя чувствовала, когда была необходимость отправить профессорам имейлы, что ты испытывала, как ты себя чувствовала и как получалось в целом отправлять имейлы, решалась ли в конце концов?
Да, и я помню, тогда мне было очень страшно, потому что с имейлами получается, человек же не знает, как ты, ну, вообще, кто ты такой человек, он не слышит твой голос, поэтому если вы напишете не тем тоном, то это может показаться очень грубо, и там профессор может обидеться, а потом, когда по имени узнает, кто вы, уже как-то отношение будет немножко другое. Поэтому, да, мне было, конечно, страшно, я иногда вот откладывала, ну, вот то, что мне помогло, я вот когда начала вести вот journaling, там, где я вот писала свое расписание, я прямо себе прописывала там с 4 до 5 я должна написать имейл вот этому профу про вот такой-то вопрос или про hours. И вот так вот старалась писать. Также еще я старалась, если, например, мне пришел вопрос там ночью где-то, я старалась сделать schedule send, потому что все-таки некоторым профессорам не нравится, когда вы поздно ночью отправляете им имейл, или он может у них затеряться потом, когда утром им там большое количество имейлов приходит. Поэтому можно, например, написать email заранее и сделать schedule send. Также schedule send, что хорошо, то что вы можете email перечитать, и если, например, какая-то ошибка, вы можете cancel sending и заново написать. А так вот иногда бывает то, что вы дали email, а потом перечитываете, оказывается, вы что-то не то там написали, а уже исправить это надо еще один email отправлять, а иногда бывает то, что профессора именно reply к этому email не читают, и начинается путаница. Вот.
Ясно, спасибо большое. Очень дельный совет, ребят, я надеюсь, вы все записываете и мотаете на ус, потому что эти же самые типсы пригодятся и вам. Окей, Дамиль, давай продолжим с тобой. А теперь давай сравним. Вы почти так без 5 минут выпускница, можно сказать. Как у тебя сейчас обстоят навыки с написанием писем? Все перечисленные лайфхаки, я так понимаю, ты уже используешь сама, но в целом стало ли обращение к профессорам вот в такой форме легче, удобнее и проще?
Да, вот вправду стало, я уже без особого вот anxiety отправляю, особенно если это проф, например, с моего департамента, у которого я там несколько курсов брала, то дело уже происходит намного легче, там и профы начинают там тебе всякие эмоджи отправлять, и ты уже понимаешь, что все, мы уже братаны. Но иногда все-таки этот anxiety бывает, когда, например, все-таки берешь, например, элективы, и там, например, компьютер, говорю, и иногда бывает то, что, ну, например, вот я когда писала имейлы профам по компьютер-сайенс, там, по вот с предметом, мне было как-то тоже немного неловко, мне казалось, написала ли я слишком много, написала ли я как-то странным языком, написала ли я запутанно. Ну, главное просто не бояться отправить, если вдруг поймет, он у тебя переспросит, и в этом нету ничего страшного. Лучше уж написать свой вопрос, и потом, чтобы проф ответил, нежели там ждать до талого. Это было легче, наверное, во время офлайн семестра, когда если ты боялся написать, там просто подойти на office hours, постучаться в кабинет и вот так вот спросить. Но сейчас, когда, к сожалению, обстоятельства иначе, надо уже именно по имейлам знать все, не бояться отправлять. Вот.
Okay. Спасибо большое, Дамиля. So I have just received the question, Akbula, am I right? So the message says that I'm sorry, but I don't understand what you're saying. I only understand English. So if I'm not mistaken, you must be international student, right? I hope for the rest participants of today's session, it must be fine if we switch to English so that all of us understand. All right? Do we all agree? Will it be fine? Okay. Thank you so much for your reactions. I've seen only 2 here, but I guess for the rest, you can actually see the emoticons. If you have this button reactions, so you can show us your reaction too. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. So let's just make sure that all of the participants understand, okay? And thank you so much, Ridia Dagbula, that you sent us and you let us know that you'd like us to switch to English. So I notified you, right? We'll be switching back and forth between English and Russian. So thank you so much for your understanding. All right, let's just proceed with the rest of the questions to Damiri, okay? Could you please tell us another story? Maybe there was a specific situation or story when a well-written email somehow helped you out.
I think it was during my first year. It was course language and communication, which me and Ayana took together in our first semester. That's when we got to know each other. And I was very nervous about sending I think it was about this one question from the syllabus, which I didn't understand the assessment or something at the time. So I wrote an email. It was like, I think, my very first email to a professor. So I was very nervous, and I looked up in this how the professor likes to be called, because that's also quite important. Because if you like if you don't put professors, for instance, that's kind of rude. It's better to put professor and then the name. Some professors don't like when you just say professor and without their name. So I looked up in the syllabus how she likes to be called, and she said she likes to be called Professor Dubuisson. So I wrote it that way, and then I tried to write it as clearly and as polite as possible. And I remember she replied like very, very positively. She was like, yes, of course. And it was so nice to see. And then when I came to the office hours, it was the first time that she like saw me, because previously I used to like sit at the back of the class, so she didn't always see me, and there were also a lot of people in the class. But when I came to the office hours, because my email was so polite, she was like, oh, you were the one that wrote that email. Yeah. And then her attitude to me was very positive from that email, and that made the interaction much easier, and it made it made it very easy for me to ask the questions that I needed, and like get the clarifications that I wanted to get. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And yes, Professor Dubison is one of the kindest and nicest professors that I have ever met in my classes. Thank
I'm
you so
doing a
much.
capstone with her now because of
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
amazing.
Good luck with your capstone project then. Okay, so thank you so much, Damira, and just let's wrap it up. Okay, all the advices that all the advice that you have mentioned before. So you suggest to schedule the emails. You suggest to check them all the time and check in the syllabus. Maybe if professor maybe has mentioned right the way they like to be called. Any other advice? Anything to add to our freshman students?
I guess like also, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, but it's still very important to understand that in university, especially during online, checking your emails is extremely, extremely important, because sometimes you could actually miss something very important. For instance, I had this situation actually happen to me recently, which is a bit embarrassing, that I scheduled an office hours with a professor, but she didn't send me the link, and I didn't check my email, and I was like, okay, she'll probably send it to me later. But what happened is that she actually wanted me to go to the link that's in the syllabus, but she didn't tell me. But because I didn't check the email where she said go to the link in the syllabus, I was late to the office hours, and it was very embarrassing and very awkward, and I felt very, very bad for like a week. So please, so I guess the most important advice for me in terms of Netiquette, I think, is also to check your email regularly, so that if something important comes up, that you can answer it immediately. Again, because it's online, it's very important, because in offline, if you didn't read the email, you might see the professor like in the hallway, and they said, hey, I sent you an email, check it please, because there's this information, you can check it. But in the online, unfortunately, it's you can't really do that. So the only means of communication is email, and as professors say, it's very important to respect that and really pay attention to it.
Okay, thank you so much, Demelia, for your advice. Guys, do you have any questions that you would like directly ask Demelia? Anything you want to hear from her?
Yeah, you can even ask like about majors, if the
This is unfortunately not the topic of our session, so
okay.
that is why. Yeah, let's just stick to the topic, okay?
About that, so maybe.
Okay, okay, Yerkibulan, you raised your hand, so you can go.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm really glad to see you, Amelia, giving such advices, because Netiquette is really important. I can say based on my experience, because I'm ex-found student, and during my first days at Nazarbayev University, starting online was like, I was really afraid to write letters to profs, and I really had this clumsy situation when I wrote to my EAP tutor, addressing her as doctor, like, and she was answering like, thank you for promoting me to the doctor, and something like that, because at that time I was thinking this is university, and maybe probably all the teachers are doctors or some kind of have such titles or so on. But if, okay, let's imagine that we know whether the prof is doctor or not, but we don't know would address her with her surname or just prefers with just name. It's our first email. So should we write like name and surname?
Yeah, I think that's also like a question that usually arises in my head, but usually I will write professor name, surname. You can't go wrong with that. And nobody would get offended for that. So if you're not, it's probably better to go that way, because some professors, when you just put the name, saying professor and name, it's also kind of informal. The most formal one is with the surname, and for some people, like, I don't know, sometimes when for instance, the surname might be kind of hard, and maybe if you misspell it, and that looks very awkward. So it's better, I think, to write the whole name if that's the case. Like professor name, surname.
Professor. If you don't know whether he or she is doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, professors, I think like the teaching professors in our university are all doctors, I think, except for language instructors, but still, like, you won't go wrong if you just say professor, because they're all professors. But in terms of doctor, for some professors, it's also very awkward. For instance, I had this one professor who said that he hates being called doctor. I don't remember the reason. I think he said because it has like a weird connotation. So he says, never call me doctor.
Okay.
That can also be the case sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for your question. So let's continue with Agirke. You can ask your question.
Yes, hello everyone. Thanks for making such an important meeting. I have a question regarding the email. For example, I usually send an email to professors, and if I ask any question, I usually wrote thanks in advance at the end of my every letter. And when they respond to me, I'm thinking about, should I respond to them like thank you separately, or it's okay to leave it like that?
I see. For me, I think it's better to, like, nothing bad will happen if you say thank you twice. So it's better to be like, what was the saying? It's better to be safe than sorry. Especially also, I find that it's important to write thank you to professors back, so that way they know that you've actually read the email. Because if you just leave it at read, they don't know if you read it or not. And it's very confusing for the professor as well, because they don't know how to proceed with your issue or with your question, or they don't know whether you're satisfied or not. And then that can result in even more misunderstanding. So it's better just to say thank you as well. Especially in Gmail, there's this automatic reply button, so it takes only like 5 seconds just to click the one of the suggestions, like thank you for answering, like that, and just send it.
Okay, I thought that it would be like spam, and I thought that there's so much letters in their email box, and like I don't know, but okay, thank you for clarification.
It's okay. Thank you for your question. I mean, for professors, the most important part will still be to like actually answer your question. So don't be afraid in such cases, because I mean, it's their job to check the emails to answer to your questions. So if you say thank you again, like it's not, they can't be offended by that. Especially when it's something nice. If you spam them with something annoying, then yes, of course, then that's not good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Agirke, for your question. Camila, could you please ask your question?
Hello, it's nice to meet you, everyone. I have quite an important question. I think it's pretty common that on our senior, junior years, we'll be asking for recommendation letters from our professors. Can you give an advice on how to do it in the right way?
Yes, that's actually a very, very important question. To be honest, I didn't ask for a recommendation letter yet, but I had the experience of asking for the references in the CD. So in that case, what you should do is firstly, like in the subject, of course, say like your exact purpose, like recommendation letter for, and you can also write your name again, because so that the person that reads it or like can see like, oh, for that person. Because if you say recommendation letter for me, they have to like look up and see who that that person is that actually sent it, and it's written smaller than the subject line when they receive like a notification. So it's better to in the subject heading recommendation for your name. Then of course the most important thing is to be very polite. So be like dear professor nana nana, I hope you're doing well, nana nana. And then when asking, you should specify which course you took from that professor, because I mean, every professor has like, I don't know, hundreds of students, and they might not remember you. So you can say, I took your course like in the fall of 2021, for instance. If you want to ask from a professor that you took like in the previous years, it's better to specify when you took the course. And then I don't know if specifying a grade is important. I guess it also depends on what kind of professor you're asking. You probably will ask the professor that you're more or less kind of familiar with, and he or she might also be more familiar with you. But again, like more information will never hurt. So you can try to put like as much information about yourself as possible so that the professor remembers who you are. Because like the worst recommendation letters are the ones where the professors write like the most generic things about a student, like hardworking, yes, pretty nice, yes, like that. But it's important for the professor to remember who you are, to write actually good recommendation letter. And so state the purpose for the recommendation letter. For instance, if it's a graduate school, specify which school you're applying to, what kind of program that is, so that the professor can be more specific about what to write. I mean, yes, professors have some sort of templates for the recommendation letters, but it's still important to give them as much information as possible about your purpose and who you are, so that they can serve your purpose, so that they can write what is like, they can write about how you actually fit into the program, like what are your qualities that fit the program, and so forth. And of course, thank in advance, and then thank you when they answer that they will help, right? Thank you again when they send the recommendation letter, so that, because it's a lot of work. I know that like writing recommendations is very stressful for professors, so be thankful if they agree and they do it for you. I hope that answered. No?
Thank you, it was very informative.
Okay.
And thank you for a very good question. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Kiblan, have you got another question? Okay, go forward.
Yeah, Agirka's question reminds me of another really awkward situations in exchanging emails between professors. Like the first, there is some situation when there is chain of emails, like email, reply to that email, reply to reply, and so on. So the first emails that we exchange usually have a heading like dear someone, and then finishes with someone says our best regards and so on. But later we have just these short emails with only body piece without greetings and wishing best, sincere, and other things. So I just really want to know your way of writing these emails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an important question. Thank you for asking. What I noticed is that I also was kind of like, I thought about this question a lot in the previous years as well. But what I noticed is that professors themselves, even if the reply is only like a few minutes apart, they still, in each email, they might write dear, your name and best regards, and you can see that it's not really automatically generated, but it's something that they out. So I think it's better to follow the prof's instincts and also write dear and best regards. Again, as I've said previously, it's not bad to be too polite. Like, it's okay. It's worse if you're rude, if you don't like write all of these formulations. So I'll in the replies still write like dear professor, thank you for answering, best regards. Yes, and for the best regards, you can make the automatic signature, so the best regards would not be that much of a problem because it will already come up. And for the dear professor, I mean, it's only one line, so it's not a big deal, I think. So it's better to write it again, better safe than sorry, so that the interaction would be like very polite.
Yeah, just the thing ends in quite weird conversation, like even for the short question. But generally, I agree, politeness isn't extra.
I understand like email is very awkward in this sense. It's not like text. And sometimes when there are lots of replies, you want to, like, your instincts go to texting and you want to write as you would text in WhatsApp or something, but email is still email. It's another format, it's another form. So it's better to follow the what's called the formulations, the rules of email, rather than going text. When you have very good relationship with a professor and they themselves use the super informal way, like with emojis and everything, like in your 4th year, then maybe, but still don't overuse it. Still, it's better to be polite.
Okay.
All right. Camille, can I ask you, is your question regarding the structure of the email and how we should write it, or is the other question?
It was just a small note. I think some professors might follow this tactic that they follow in text messages because they have a lot of emails from their students. So it did feel awkward when undergraduate studies started, actually, because I emailed 3 or 4 people and they were like receiving a text message in Telegram, which was strange.
Yeah, that happens.
Things happen, so don't worry about that. Okay. So thank you so much, Demira, for your participation and for your question, for your answers, and for the given advice. So thank you so much, and let's proceed with our next speaker, who is Ijan Kalaswa. So can you hear me, Ijan? Are you here?
Hello, yes. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, we can, and we can hear and see you. Welcome to our session. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm very excited, and because I have prepared like lots of advices from my own experience and wanted to share it with you.
Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, let's just go with some questions. Okay, so could you please tell us how, what about your experience? How did you learn to write professional emails?
So first of all, as the PSIR 3rd year student, I can like surely say that humanities and social science professors are like more timid with such things than the other technical faculty professors. And like most of the professors that I took courses from, they specify in the syllabus how should we call them and in what way we should write emails. And some of the professors, they like they had links in the syllabus to some websites where it was like really explained in a very detailed way how to write emails. So mostly all of the information I got now, I have learned from that websites. But for your information, like in the Google, if you just type email etiquette, like there is a whole bunch of information and very reliable information, yes.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so how do you feel now? Has your communication skills improved? How does it feel now to be emailing professors?
Yes, it improved quite a lot. Like during my freshman or foundation years, I was really worried when I emailed professors. I know now that I had really maybe huge, but maybe little mistakes, but there was a lot of mistakes. And now I text them like in a very automatic way. I just know the format of how should we write emails, and I like type in that format very quick.
All right. So also, guys, you know, Ijan is quite well known for a bunch of projects that she has participated in. She is really well known for various projects for presidential elections last year, and also a bunch of other internships that she has taken. So Ijan, could you please tell us how this professional skill of writing email has helped you in your work and internship experience?
Mm-hmm. It helped me a lot because like I do not seek for the open vacancies or hot vacancies. So I just, if I know some companies or I see some companies nearby my house, I just try to get an internship there. So my experience is that my second internship in the Swiss-based company, startup company, I saw their website and I saw that they have no open vacancies. And I had some experience in emailing professors, so I thought maybe I should email them too, and prepared my email in a very professional format because this is like a whole big company, so I had to be very careful. And I prepared my email like in the set format, yes, which I found in the internet. And I obeyed all the rules. I attached my CV and my cover letter, and so I got this internship, and I have already passed that internship and finished. So this is like my case.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on successful internship experience. All right, and could you please tell us maybe some personal advice and some tips that you use to make your emails professional and concise and reaching the purpose?
Okay, so I have prepared lots of them. The first one is to always write your email title. Like it's very important, as Daniela said, like not most of the, but all of the people, they always look at the email title first and then decide to look at it or not, if it's important or not. So as Daniela said, I want to repeat it again, always put the course number, course title also. And try to be more precise and write the email title in a detailed way, like in a direct way, yes. And if you have like several questions for the professors, not write it in the whole one paragraph, like try to order them by putting like numbers. So for the professors, it should be easy to reply for that questions, yes. And if you are changing the topic of the email, like in the first paragraph, try to write one topic. And if you are changing this topic, try to write it in the next paragraph, so that it's the whole thing looks very in an ordered and structured way. And also set your signature in the email. So in the settings, there is an option to set your signature. So I don't know where you can find this. Maybe you can email to academic advising office so that they have the set option for the NU students, and you just can copy that and paste in your in the settings of your email, and you have like a ready signature for you. And I know some people really want to have fun and they love experimenting, but do not experiment with the fonts. So be always classic and use like Times New Roman or some other classic fonts you have. And do not leave it to the last minutes. Try to write your emails by not leaving it to the last minute. So what I want to say is that I had this problem once when my assignments were due to Sunday or Saturday, and I just looked at them only on those days, and I had very serious questions of how to submit or how to do that assignments, but I could not ask that questions because professors were out of the city for the weekends, like, and I just didn't know how to submit. So if you have such assignments on the weekends, try to at least look at the requirements on how to submit on the weekdays and ask your questions. And then when all questions are answered, then you can like in a relaxed way do that assignment on the weekends. Yes, and the last advice is from my own experience. Most of the professors, they send their emails by Moodle, like they send it in the Moodle, and the Moodle directs it to the our emails, but there is no option to reply for that emails in the Gmail. You can only reply in Moodle, as I know. And I like I had very serious problems in my freshman years because I didn't know that, and I replied it by Gmail and was wondering why I didn't get answer for that for like whole week. And only then I did know that this is only in the Moodle. option. Like, do not make my mistakes again. So these are my advices. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ijan. It was quite informative, right, guys? A whole bunch. As you can see, Ijan has prepared all the knowledge she has and that she gained from her own experience so that it contributes you and you can use this knowledge too. All right, thank you so much, Ijan, for your participation. Guys, do you have any questions that you'd like Ijan to answer? Any questions? Okay, Camila, you can start.
I've been just revising the emails I've written for the previous year. And as Ijan said, there are a bunch of advices on the internet. And one of them I remember was about that some professors, they don't like the expression thanks in advance when students write this way. So I decided to change it to something like, thank you for your attention to this email, or thank you for your attention to this matter. So is it generally acceptable to write in this way? And should I reply back when they accept my requests?
For the Camila, hi, thanks for your question first. Then I also can say that yes, some professors, they really do not like the expression thanks in advance, because they have say to me personally, some professors. And like for the second question, I think yes, you can write in that way. I think it's really acceptable, because you are like do not writing some offenses, or you are not demanding something. You just saying thank you for the attention. So I think it's acceptable. And like, I think your question is quite similar to the previous question to the Melia, that if a professor replies you back with the answer, yes, you can reply back with a thank you again. I think, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Camila, for your question. All right, Karlagash, you also have got a question. Could you please ask it?
Yes, thank you. Hello. So I had a question regarding the emails. So, for example, there are, as an Azerbaijan students, we have received lots of emails. And how do you handle them? Do you usually delete them or sort them out somehow? And do you like unsubscribe from something, like this kind of things? Because it's really hard to just keep an eye on all the emails that is coming.
Thanks for the question. I think it's very important question. I know some people who have like 2,000, 3,000 emails in their inbox. I don't actually know how they live, because I'm like very perfectionist person, and I always delete the emails that I don't want to see again, or I don't need. And I always delete them from the trash also after like 2 weeks or so. And some emails which require not immediate attention, like I will need them in a month or in several months, I send them to the archive. And then in the inbox, I usually try to not leave one message, one email. But if this is something that will come up like the next day, or some Zoom link to some event which is next day, or 2 days after, I try to put them in the inbox so that I don't forget them. But I usually delete, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for it's such a good question. This is something that we all experience, right? A lot of emails coming, like, you know, my mom doesn't text me that frequently, as I get the notifications from the inbox, you know, from my Gmail. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions to Ayjan? Okay, I can see none. So thank you so much, Ijan, for your participation. So then, as you could see, guys, the media has left because she gotta go. If you have some questions, you may contact her, or you may keep your questions, and we will answer them, because we will be back to Q&A after the workshop. Ijan, you can stay and help me out with the Q&A after. All right. Okay, Camila has got a question. All right, let's go with the question.
Since the topic of discussion now is about sorting emails, can you please clarify how the mailing in our university works? Just to make sure that people know what addresses should be used, because I think you remember the last week's case with a bunch of flood emails. And this was very unexpected, though it happened last year too. So what's that?
Was this question addressed to me or to Ijan? So okay, let me handle it. Okay. So regarding the situation that happened last week, yeah, it was very confusing, and I don't think that it was pleasing for all people who received the email to see this. I think from our side, from the side of Nazarbayev University students, I mean, we are higher than that. Of course, we can joke around and we can make jokes and make fun when it's appropriate. When it's corporate emails, right? We all have the same domain, which is nazarbayev.nu.edu.kz, right? So I think we have to sustain like professional relationship. It is okay to be making fun and have some jokes, but not in this case. So I think it happened by accident. The student has sent the email to a wrong address. Unfortunately, the receivers, they could just ignore it. What happened is that they didn't ignore it and they started making fun of that. I was thinking of the person who has made this mistake in the first place, and I was thinking how embarrassed this person felt, Probably the person was so embarrassed that this mistake happened and this mistake kept going on, so all people started receiving the replies. Personally, when I started receiving so many notifications from my Gmail, I was shocked and I got scared, to be honest, because we don't receive so much emails. I mean, we usually say, right, that there are a lot of like emails coming from Nazarbayev University, but when the replies started coming, it felt like emergency case, right? Something's going on, right? So I felt scared when this happened, and I felt really sorry for the person who has started everything, but it just happened by mistake. So in this case, I think in case you just receive an email that you can clearly see that was not addressed to you, just ignore it. Okay, just ignore it. The person has made a mistake, but who doesn't, right? So who doesn't? So in this case, this may repeat even when you're first year or fourth year. Economy students, just a week, I think a couple of days ago, we also received an email from our peer. So she's also fourth year economist. She just wanted to answer to Professor Bazarkulova's email, but it happened that she has answered to all, fourth year economic students, but we just ignored it, we just understood that it was by mistake and we didn't react. So so that's the proper way to handle these kind of emails that were not addressed to you. And also an advice to you, of course, when you're addressing an email, make sure that the receiver is the correct one, okay? That your email is targeting the right person. Okay? Have I answered the question?
Pretty much, yes. So I guess it's not necessary to know how our mailing system works here, right?
Emailing system, there are some emails that you receive because you're just a new Nazarbayev University student. Like, for example, let's say this weekly digests, right, which are made for you so that you get to know about some events that are happening in the city or in our university. So you might potentially become a participant of them. So you can't get you shouldn't unsubscribe because there might be something important to you, right? But there are some email subscriptions for clubs. And for example, you just joined the club and you decided to become the subscriber of their emailing list, and then you realize that you no longer want to do it. In this case, you're free to unsubscribe anytime. So I think in the end of the email, they always have some instructions or on what you should do to make sure that they remove you from their list and you no longer receive the emails from them. Okay.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Guys, never press reply all. Never.
That's true. That's true. Okay, thank you so much. Ayana, you got a question. Could you please answer? Oh, so could you please ask a question?
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. And I just want to, first of all, thank you all for organizing such a meeting because it's an important theme to discuss about. Recently, I have faced such problem when emailing my professor by asking for an office hour. So I started like formally just write it professor and the surname, and I just asked it for an office hour and for the suitable time for him. And I thought, is it appropriate to write ending like sincerely or best regards? Is it like how mandatory to write the ending, or we can just keep this part? How do you think about?
Ijan, maybe you could answer this question.
Yes, thanks for the question. So it depends if you have a signature or not. So the signature is actually designed for the for the place of the expression best regards. So if you do not have your signature, it's okay. Or I think it's not mandatory actually, but it's quite better if you write sincerely or best regards. But if you have signature, you may leave it. So it's up to you actually.
Can we do by ourselves a signature, or we just ask for it from our, I don't know, maybe advisors?
Yes, you can ask for your advisors. They will send, or I don't know if they have, but actually they should have like the set it option for a new student's signature. So you just copy and paste in the settings of your Gmail, whereas the signature is written, and like there is some empty place. So you should paste it there, and you should change the name, surname for your name and surname, and change your year of study, and like it's set. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so thank you so much, guys, for your questions. This is not it with our session. Now let's move to our workshop, okay? I think you're all familiar with how to write emails. I just want to go with this workshop, just go over some important things, okay? Revise you how we can track the emails, so to make sure that your emails are precise, professional, and reach the target, okay? And now we're gonna just finish with the game. So just to make sure that we all see the same slides, let me share them, okay? And you can see them, right? Let's move with our workshop, okay? So maybe this part of the email seems a little bit confusing, so let's go over it just to make sure that all of us understand what it consists of, what we put there, and why we need it, okay? So identifying whom to address the email. Okay, yeah, of course. I don't know if you want to stay, you can stay, but if you gotta go, sure. Yeah, we will just finish with the workshop, short Q&A, and then a short game, and that's it. Okay? All right, let me proceed.
Thanks, bye.
And thank you too for your participation. All right, let us continue. So, identifying whom to address the email. So, when writing an email, probably you guys could see this to CC and BCC. So, probably you were wondering why we need them, why there are so many, how to use them. So, let's start. First of all, to-line. To-line is responsible for response or taking the action. Okay, so everyone whom you titled, whom you mentioned in to-line is responsible to read your email and do the action that you're probably asking to perform in your email. Okay, so and also always check whom you're just referring to in the to-line. Okay, sometimes some people, actually it happens sometimes in our university that same people have same names and even surnames, you know, and sometimes they have different different email addresses, so always check that. Okay, CC line. No action or response is expected of individuals on the CC. The recipient needs only to read or file the message. Okay, so CC is usually used, for example, when you just mention the people who are indirectly affected by the communication or by the content of the email, but we don't expect any direct action from them. Okay. And the BCC line, a feature similar to CC, except that in BCC or blind courtesy copy, recipients are invisible to the other recipients. Okay, so I rarely use BCC, so I wouldn't recommend you to be using it too. Maybe in the future when you start working, it might potentially be useful, but in not university case, to be honest. Okay, we've been mentioning precise subjects several times. Both Damelia and Ijan have mentioned that it's quite crucial to be making sure that your subject line is as precise as possible. You should write a short summary of the message, making sure that right from the subject it's clear what's the problem and what's the issue that you have and why this issue was addressed to the person you're addressing your email to. Okay, I would recommend it to use less than 6 or 7 words, no more than that. Okay, too long subject is kind of wordy, so I wouldn't recommend you to write more than that. Okay, also do not use capital letters. Sometimes though we might see capital letters, but they sometimes are taken in the brackets. So for example, we can see emails which have subject like important written in caps lock and in the brackets, or for example today and then it's taken in the brackets. I think it's quite fine if some kind of organizations or administration do it, but from the student side, right, who we are all, I wouldn't recommend us to be doing that. Capital letters are sometimes triggering, and if you remember the first session that we had, right, mock registration, some people were telling me to stop using caps lock because they felt like I was screaming at them. So capital letters, so stay away from them. Okay. All right. When replying, change the subject line when the topic changes. Okay, if for example you have addressed one question to a professor and then another question popped out, you better compose a new email and just use the new topic. Okay, specify new subject because the topic has changed. All right, and as it was mentioned too, I would recommend you to include a code of the course, number of the section, so that for your instructor it's clear from which course, from which section you are emailing the professor. Okay, because yeah, professor, they have a lot of students and it might be difficult for them to, you know, to be well oriented with all students and to remember all of us. So that is why is their job, and just make sure so that they get to, so they know who you are. All right, what course you're taking, what section you're from, and what's the matter you have. Okay. All right. Secondly, salutations. Okay, I think we are all familiar with how to write salutations. Several questions were addressed, and I think it is also good to check the syllabus, or maybe in the first introductory session which you have with your professors. It is always nice to ask a professor like, what's the way you would like to be called, or you haven't mentioned this in the syllabus. What is the preferred way by you to be called? Okay, it's not offensive. It's actually a good way, so that, I mean, when you're taking a course, you should be prepared that you're going to work with the professor for more than like 3 months, almost 3.5 or almost 4, right? So the whole semester you're going to spend with the same professor. You'll be referring him or her so many questions. So you better get to know in advance, okay, how this person likes to be called, okay? In other cases, if you're not sure, just, okay, we usually use dear and then the person's name and colon or comma. We can also use title and last name. Of course, in case of professors, these are formal relationships, so you should stick to formal style. Just use dear, a title, and last name. If you're wondering which title to use, okay, better play safe and just call them all professors, okay? Some people, yeah, they like to be called doctors, but some people don't. So better play safe and just use dear professor, maybe last name, or maybe name, the first name and last name. So it is always fine, okay? Okay. All right, some are the things. If you're not sure whom you're addressing, okay, you might use sir or madame. In case you're texting a woman and you don't know which one she prefers, miss or Mrs., it might be safe to stick to miss. Okay, and if you're referring to group of people, or if you're referring to 2 people, use both names. And if you're referring to a group of people, maybe it would be good to use dear and then like unifying attribute, like maybe dear team members. Okay, so as you're done with salutations, you can proceed to body of an email. Okay, and as you go to the body of an email, you should ask the following questions. Why am I writing this? what exactly do I want the result of this message to be? And may I find the answer in syllabus? Before texting, before emailing professors, you should answer these questions. If you have answered these questions when you start writing an email, you will just make sure that your email has a purpose. It's not just an email that might potentially irritate the professor because the answer is in syllabus and you have simply didn't check it, okay? Or maybe you just have for example, let's say some unclarity in your mind, and how can you address an email if you don't have a proper understanding what you want from the person? So addressing an email might not be a good decision in this case. You first need to clarify why you're writing this, what you need, what's the expected result, and maybe again you have the information in syllabus. A lot of professors truly they get irritated when things were stated in Moodle or syllabus and students just send them the same email again and again. Okay, so don't irritate them. They have tough job, so do not waste your time and their time. Just make sure that you check it. Then you see that you don't have, and in case you don't have an answer to your question, you may refer to a professor. Okay, all right. Next thing you write is opening. Sometimes it's good to include thanks. Okay, sometimes it's good and include it if it's only appropriate. Okay, when you include thanks or some polite intro, it actually puts the person at ease. And the person becomes more courteous, so they are more likely to respond in a more positive tone. So you should start it with a positive tone first. Thanks are good, but use them only if appropriate. If you think thanks are not appropriate, then just start with polite greeting like, I hope this email finds you well, okay? Or I hope you're doing great, or I hope you're doing fine, okay? So it is quite appropriate to be starting email like this, okay? Don't make opening too long. Yeah, just one sentence or one quite short sentence, and then you can go straight to the point, okay? All right, and then when you go to composing the content, the issue itself, right, that you're addressing to a person, make sure that you first of all have an understanding, okay? What do you expect an action, okay, after the email is being sent? Does it include action required? Does it require a reply back by a certain date? And what information is contained that the reader will find necessary for their job, okay? So answer these questions, and if for any you have answered yes, make sure that you specify it in separate paragraph, okay? So that the action you expect is in separate paragraph and the person sees it. For example, if you're expecting the reply by a specific date, make sure that you specify in separate paragraph. And same goes to the information that is quite important for the reader, okay? Some popular actions, some popular types of actions are the following. For example, an action, like a physical action. For example, could you please upload the slides of today's lecture on Moodle? Okay, so you're asking if this kind of physical action can be performed. Respond, okay. Can the midterm date be changed? Okay, so you're asking if there is a chance that the date might be changed, right? Read only may sound like this. Please read the syllabus before our first meeting on Monday, or just information only. Sometimes we just say enclosed for your records. Okay, so this just means that you need to keep it, and that's it. Okay. So also some additional tips. As I mentioned before, write in a positive tone. No one likes grumpy people, and when you're really grumpy or offensive in emails, make sure that you keep positive tone. Be concise and go to the point, okay? No one likes long emails, and also I think according to one investigation that has been made by scientists, the chances of reply to an email are higher when they do not exceed 100 words. Yeah, so the shorter, the conciser your idea is, the more likely your email to be responded. Okay, proper spelling, grammar, and punctuation are required, so always proofread your emails and check if there are any mistakes. Read the email before you send it, okay? Try to read it as if that's not you who has just written it. Try to read it objectively and see if there are any mistakes, okay? Has something been changed? Maybe there is unclarity and you need to make it clear, okay? Provide all supporting information that will help the recipient complete an action or respond successfully. I had this case like I think 3 weeks ago when I was texting, I was emailing a head of mathematics department, and I was wondering what the courses, what kind of courses will be given in next semester. So I was wondering for particular courses, and I didn't just like label their codes like math some kind of, but I also wrote their like full names, like full titles of the course in the brackets, because even if the person is head of head of mathematics department, like the person just might not know all the code and all the names, all the courses. So I just made it easier for the person to respond to my email by adding additional information in the brackets. Okay. So avoid using urgent and important, as I mentioned before. Caps lock might not be perceived in a proper way, so you better not abuse it. Okay. Proper structure and layout. I think Ijan has mentioned that it's better not to experiment and use classic fonts and like you keep the neutral look, and also divide your email in some kind of paragraphs, okay, so that you separate distinct ideas from one another. Okay, write about one thing. If there are multiple of questions, you better separate them in different emails or different paragraphs, but do not include too many issues in one email. The chances are really high that none of your requests will be done, or only maybe one of 10 that maybe you have mentioned. Okay, and something that we have also mentioned in our stories, right? If you follow us on Instagram, maybe you could seen it. You could have seen it. If not, follow us in our Instagram. In stories, we have mentioned flaming, right? Flaming is a situation when the person writes a quite emotional reply, right, or an emotional email. So in this case, I would suggest you to keep flaming under control, okay? It's always good to ask yourself, would I say this to this person's face, Sometimes we might forget that behind the screen there is a real person, and the real person might get offended. And also, as Damila has mentioned, right, when we write, person cannot hear our tone, cannot see us and our body language, right? So the text that you write might be misinterpreted. So that is why you just need to be as polite as possible and avoiding any hard language or flaming, okay, in your text. Just if you feel that you're angry, it's better to put away all the devices, calm yourself down, and then come back to responding to a message that maybe has offended you. Okay? Even if someone has offended you, don't do it too, and just calm down and then go back to replying only after you are cool. Okay? All right, and then the closings, okay? It is okay to mention thank yous. I would personally say I don't add thank you in advance, stuff like this, because look, when your email is being answered, or when your email is being processed and the professor like has answered and has like done what you needed, maybe after that you say thank you anyway, right? So in my opinion, it's not always necessary to be saying thank you in advance. So you will just thank after it. And again, why I do not add like thank you in advance, because I always try to make my emails as short as possible, so that I go straight to the point and without any kind of unnecessary details. You will thank you the professor or another person later when the issue is done. But again, for some people, thank yous might be important, so it might be that it's a good idea to include it. So it's totally up to you. Okay, for closing, it's also good to just add follow-up statement. Okay, like I look forward to receiving your input, or I look forward to hearing from you. Okay, some kind of message which kind of delivers the intention or your expectation. Okay, like you're expecting the person to answer, you're expecting the person to reply, to help you or something like this. Okay, so these kind of follow-up statements are quite okay, so you can add them. All right, and also this part, Pay attention, I have divided the closers into the groups. So yours sincerely and yours faithfully are very formal. You can stick to them, but quite formal, like best regards or kind regards sincerely, they're also fine. Best wishes and cheers, they're quite casual, so I wouldn't recommend you to be using them, okay? Stick to these 5, yeah. And also maybe best regards and kind regards too, okay? So these 6 are quite good, okay? Add your first name, last name. If you have, as Ijan said, signature, put your signature, and that's it. Double check your email again, check the spelling, politeness, edit if necessary, check the subject, check the recipient, and you're ready to send your email. Okay, so that was pretty fast. Any questions, guys? Anything that was maybe unclear? Maybe I was going too fast. Anything? Okay, Camila, you can ask a question.
No, it was just a reaction.
Oh, just
Thank
a
you.
reaction. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so kind. Thank you. All right. I think we can upload the slides, and we're also going to have a post in our Instagram so that the whole information will be there. Oh, thank you so much for your reactions, the heart. Thank you too. So cute. Okay. Yeah, I think you can just follow our Instagram. Whenever we use some kind of information, we always repost it and we put quite important updates there. So it would be a nice idea if you just follow us there. Okay, and if everything's clear, maybe we can play a game. Okay, so I think it would be nice for us to play a game. So let's go. Let me open it and we're gonna do just a second. Okay. Okay, so here's the short game, just to make sure that we have learned, again, we have remembered everything that has been discussed today, so that we can check your understanding, okay? There's instructions are the following. We are going to compose an email together. You need to imagine that you're a student of WCS 150 Rhetorics and Composition Section 6, and you would like to ask your instructor about the format of upcoming personal presentation, okay? You have already read the guidelines that instructor has uploaded on Moodle, but you could not find the answer for your question, okay? The email part templates will be given to you, so as a team, all together, let's just decide which template we gonna choose, okay? So let's first of all choose the best subject. Let's discuss. You can switch on your mics and let's just discuss. Which subject is the best?
The 4th one?
Okay, could you please explain why the 4th one is the best?
Yes. So first of all, there is the course number and also the section number and also the purpose of writing, like personal presentation, and it's clear and concise.
Very good, awesome. Okay, so let's choose number 4. Okay, now let's choose the greeting. Okay, let's choose the best greeting we have here. What do you think we need to use, guys?
3rd one.
Okay, could you please say, Camila, why the 3rd one?
Yes. At first sight, there might be no difference between 2nd and 3rd one. Yeah, it's obvious that we can't use doctor and Mr. together, but in case with 2nd one, there is no
Column. Comma. Comma.
Yeah, comma or column. So 3rd one will be appropriate.
Very good, thank you.
Most informal version.
Of course, thank you. Okay, now let's choose the best opening.
The second one.
Okay, Yerkibula, why we need to use the second one?
Because we need to be very concise and professional in writing emails. Relying on emotions and writing all of this in the first one is not professional.
That's true. You're totally right. Okay, thank you. Let's choose the second one. Okay, now guys, let's choose the body of an email. Which one is the best? So take your time, read it, and then you can answer.
First.
Okay, Alia, why do we need to use the first one?
Because I think the second one written in more rude manner.
Which part did you find rude?
It is written that written in such unclear form, like accusing, like if I'm accusing the professor, and the question itself, could you please tell me whether the survey results must be included in slides or not, like also being rude.
This is true. Yes, you're totally right. This is being extremely rude, right? Saying that the instructions that the professor sent are unclear, and just saying, "Could you please tell me?" Even if you have please, right? It's still kind of like demanding. The first one is more polite. Yes, you're right. Thank you. Okay, and let's finish our essay with the closure. Okay, so which one is the best? Kind regards or best wishes?
Kind regards.
Yes, exactly. So you're right. Why do we need to use kind regards and not the best wishes?
Best wishes is more informal, and the kind regards more formal.
Yes, very good. Okay, so everything we've done is correct. So congratulations. It seems to me, I think I missed. Okay, I didn't miss it. I have already read. Okay, so it's fine. So I'm really happy to see that we all could answer the game and just play it correctly. So do you have any questions left regarding the Netiquette and maybe anything else?
Just a comment. Thank you for organizing this Netiquette, because I've learned something new, because I thought like I know how to write emails, but then there were some insights that I found like that were really useful, so I will try to use them.
Thank you so much.
Again.
Thank you too for your participation too. Okay. Any other comments? All right.
I have a question. But I'm sorry. Will you send the recording of this session? I've received a message from a student who couldn't join because of the internet connection. She was actually there with us, but something is wrong with the internet.
Oh, she had to disconnect. Yeah. Yeah, the recording will be. I was recording, right? So, the recording will be, I think, uploaded to our YouTube channel, and then we can just send the link, or you can just subscribe to our YouTube channel. So it will be kept. Don't worry.
Oh, you have a YouTube channel. Thank you.
I think so. Yeah, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, just like the previous session that you had will be uploaded. I think it was already uploaded, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Oh, it will be there, so don't worry. Okay. Anything else you want to ask? All right. I think that's it. So thank you everyone for participation. Okay, I think this session was quite useful. Hope you had a great weekend. And also tomorrow is a holiday in Kazakhstan, right? So happy Constitution Day tomorrow. Okay, and hope you're doing great with the beginning of semester. As usual, you can request. Yeah, you can ask your questions to advisors. We are always happy to answer all your questions. Thank you for this participation. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.